Was this really just a tragedy or a carefully crafted catalyst?
Something's wrong. Something's so wrong, it's sickening.
Sickening is definitely the right adjective, I think, to describe how a lot of us are feeling.
I don't think any of this is about Charlie Kirk, the person. And I don't think it's about whether you liked him or hated him. When actual TV networks air over and over clips that encourage people to see the other side, not as neighbors that we might disagree with, but as enemies that need to be destroyed.
That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent. And I don't want the best for them, I'm sorry.
Are you ready to fight back? And are you ready to put on the full armor of God and face the evil in high places and the spiritual warfare before us?
You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country.
You have no idea the dragon you have awakened.
No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it.
Returning the people to Almighty God.
I have talked more about Jesus Christ in the past 2 weeks than I have my entire time in public life.
Pray again. Read the Bible again. Go to church next Sunday, and the Sunday after that.
God saved our president, President Trump, from an assassin's bullet for this moment.
And we have to bring back religion to America, because without borders, law and order, and religion, you really don't have a country anymore.
This is a signal, and it's a signal that we, and I do mean we, all crossed into something that is a lot darker than just politics.
That's right. We don't submit to terror. We make the terror.
At first glance, Charlie appears to be a genuine man of faith. Honest, kind, and deeply respected across denominations.
And I had a quick question about anti-Semitism online. Another question here they asked about Candace Owens, and I'm a big fan of you, I was a big fan of her, but she's obviously been going down this anti-Semitic bent. And through her, I'm kind of finding out about these other characters online, like Nick, for instance. I'm sure you've heard of him. And these people, they've been active for a long time, and it seems like they've just been ignored, which is working, but now they're kind of surging in popularity. And as someone who, I enjoy watching your debate.
Of course they're surging in popularity. They're talking against the Jews, the evil Jews. That's the trendy thing now. Sneeko also is using the same tactics. Andrew Tate, same tactics. Dan Bilzerian, same tactics.
Are they people you'd be willing to engage with and maybe shut them down in a way through a debate or something like that?
Well, I mean, I'll get to debate Candace. But no, look, I'll debate anybody that shows up at our campus, and that's first and foremost. But I do want to take what you say and extrapolate that there is a corner of the internet of people that want to point and blame the Jews for all their problems. Everybody, this is demonic and it's from the pit of hell, and it should not be tolerated. Really.
But something didn't sit right with me. As I prepared to publish my thoughts, the Holy Spirit prompted me to pause. And now I see why.
I feel I was insisting that everybody read that book, Chaos, about the Charles Manson murders. And what we learn from that book is that if the government does want to hide something, what they do is they give you so much information that you you don't even know what's real. So many different possible ways that things could have gone down, so many different manners, so many people speaking, so many publications publishing. And it's just meant to be chaotic, to drive you crazy and to just go, okay, I'm just gonna accept whenever the authority says something and not prod any further. We can't allow that to happen here. I won't allow that to happen here because this something terrible has traumatized the world, okay? And I feel as though when it comes to this, the media, the government, the talking heads, everyone is confusing us about what actually took place with Charlie Kirk, this event, how it got set up. I even would like to know who picked the venue, okay?
The deeper I looked, the more I realized this wasn't just about Charlie. It was about Erica.
Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Her background is laced with symbolic red flags like rumored Masonic rings, ties to Homeland Security through her mother.
How did your mom choose Phoenix?
So she chose to move to Phoenix from Ohio because there was more of an opportunity for a female business owner out here, especially from the standpoint of she was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense. And so she had other business partners that were out here that were already in that industry, even one that was a mentor of hers. So it was really convenient to be able to come all together in one place to really have that.
She's a devoted Catholic and she studied at the Jesuit University, and even a connection tied to a knighted stepfather, and so many more.
That's the Maltese cross with a crown on top of it. And I looked it up, Maltese cross with a crown on it, and here this was a website that actually on the left, I covered it up with her picture there, but on the left there was like all these links to different like Masonic jewelry. 666 hand sign while holding a rosary. She's wearing a Maltese cross, which the definition of the Maltese cross when combined with a royal crown and a pendant is a powerful and explicitly Christian symbol, is what AI is saying, of the York Rite of Freemasonry. If you are awake at all, you'll know that Freemasonry is not Christian.
I was raised well.
Yes, you have a great mom.
Great mom.
Great parents.
My grandparents were amazing.
Fiercely right-wing.
Yes. My grandfather was an immigrant from Sweden and fought in World War II and the Korean War. Yeah, and he got the Silver Star, the Bronze Star, and knighted by the King of Sweden, and he was always super far right.
Do you think having kids made you more conservative?
100%.
And it says, particularly for the Knights Templar, this emblem represents the triumph of Christian virtue and the promise of eternal life for the faithful. And it says, the combined symbol is a motto in hoc signo vinces, by this sign you shall conquer. Do you know what that is? Think about
yes. That takes us back to the by this sign you shall conquer. Doesn't that take us right back to Constantine?
Boom. You got it, bro.
Yes.
So she's rocking a symbol that has to do with Constantine. And it says this phrase, by this sign you shall conquer, which is a translation of the Latin, and it's the Roman Emperor Constantine. So she's Catholic.
I still wore my saints. I went to a Catholic high school. I went to a Jesuit university for a few years. So,
and she's wearing this Roman Freemason, throwing up the 666s, holding the rosary. And I asked, did Roman Emperor Constantine enforce a day of worship? Because that's what's on my radar. I'm looking for how is politics and religion going to unite? How are we going to have a mark of the beast system where you must worship this way or die? And it's going to look like peace and safety. Like, how are we going to get to that?
no, it was one of those things that was very important to my mom. And I think especially too, since it was just her and I, she really wanted to drive home the importance of how like church is a center part of your life. And Sunday, I think another thing too, and looking back on it, the importance of the Sabbath, I think is something that's really overlooked these days. And to her, that was something that was just, you know, we're going to church, period. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. Amen. Pray again. Read the Bible again. Go to church next Sunday. And the Sunday after that.
And so I'm thinking, is she like signaling? Is she wearing this boldly on a necklace? And it says, did Roman Emperor Constantine enforce a day of worship? Yes. In 321 AD, Roman Emperor Constantine issued a law making Sunday a day of public rest, which wasn't solely for Christian worship, but also honored the existing pagan tradition, the Day of the Sun. So there was a time when worship was enforced and it merged paganism and Christianity. Even though Christians weren't keeping Sunday, he stopped killing Christians if they would keep Sunday to meet in the middle with the pagans.
But my father ended up moving out here as well because my grandparents had a home out in Sun City. And so it took a little bit to get everyone out here. It took several years, but by that time everyone was out here, so we had a little bit more family than just us.
I think these aren't just coincidences. Could Erica have been placed in Charlie's life intentionally? As a handler, a honeypot, or even a puppet for a larger agenda? Just think about it. She's 5 years older than him, she's rich, she's well connected, and now she's rising in influence.
We're about to find out if Erica Kirk is a honeypot or the Christian conservative wife that we have seen her being all these years. People have been claiming she may be a honeypot since they started dating. And if you don't know what a honeypot is, it's beautiful, usually very intelligent women who are intentionally put next to a man in rising power or is already in a place of power as a way to control them, motivate them, keep them on the course basically. People who put these two people together want her to keep him going on that track. The more you find out about Erica Kirk, it's interesting to see the honeypot theory. 5 years older than him, she was a double major, had a doctorate, law degree. Whenever she met him, she already had very successful careers. She was a beauty pageant queen, people know this. She's Miss Arizona, she ran for Miss USA, but she was also an athlete and had a very successful basketball career and was a member of the NCAA. She also started clothing lines. The list just keeps going. She's also modeled, acted, and a casting director. Erica herself has even founded nonprofit organizations. I think that's why a lot of people who know all this about her are comparing her to Serena Joy, but people who don't know this about her are comparing her to that crazy conservative Christian from True Blood. And I feel like the more you know about Erica, it's going to be interesting to see what Erica Kirk achieves in the next months, years, how Charlie was so much more successful once he aligned himself with her, whether she was a honeypot or not.
Know something really weird? So she had said in a podcast that she had never competed in pageants and had never done any modeling before until one day she receives an invitation in the mail to become a model and start doing pageants. And the pageants that she started doing were Miss USA pageants owned by Trump. So she modeled for Trump. She was one of Trump's pageant girls, but did you know that she was also a casting director at the same time that she was doing all of this stuff for Trump? Now, she doesn't specify on her website if she worked as a casting director for Trump, but around the time that she was claiming to be a casting director, she also owned a ministry that was working with the US military in Romania. The area in Romania where she was operating this ministry had a bunch of locals accusing these evangelical ministries of kidnapping children and trafficking them out of the country. These children were being found in the UK, in Israel, and were also being sent to undisclosed private islands. Locals demanded authorities look into it, but they never did. Now, Charlie Kirk really wanted the Epstein files released, but did his wife? Prior to marrying Charlie Kirk, she was a multi-millionaire on her own, and since his passing, she's also amassed all of his wealth plus an additional at least $5 million in donations. She's currently considered the most powerful woman in the United States, with mega fans begging her to run as vice president in 2028.
Is this all just a coincidence? She's a baptized Catholic who's wearing a Maltese cross, who's wearing a G on her finger, who's went to a Jesuit Catholic university? Then she gives the speech that's 33 minutes long, and in here she's saying, you have no idea what you have just unleashed across this entire country and this world. Yeah, inciting a civil war.
Exactly.
You're gonna put the...
And someone somewhere is gonna say, hey, that's me. She's speaking to me.
Yep. You're gonna put the widow of the man who just died and she's saying...
Angry. Look at her face. It's
yeah.
I get it. I get it. She's if you're digging into this and you're seeing, yeah, she's mad, she's upset because she's upset with the left, I get it. If that's the way you see it, no disrespect there, but I mean, if you look at it from another angle, this is a woman who looks angry, and now you have all these sympathizers.
Yep.
And now these sympathizers are saying, that's the last straw.
Are you ready to fight back? And are you ready to put on the full armor of God and face the evil in high places and the spiritual warfare before us? Then put on the full armor of God. Do it now. Now is the time. This is the place. This is the turning point for Charlie.
Maybe Charlie was sincere and got in too deep, or maybe they were both being used. Either way, this tragedy made me question everything, as we all should.
In the audience right now, there are rulers of our land, the State Department, the Department of War, the Department of Justice, the Chief Executive.
Just think about it. Right after Charlie's death, staged or real, it doesn't really matter for the dark forces.
The serpent that gives you a knowledge of good and evil, and he is the one who is deified. You'll see skulls and babies representing life and death, cycles of life and death. It's a reincarnation. It sees forwards and backwards. Often these are half white, half black, representing the knowledge of light and the knowledge of darkness. And whether you worship the dark side or whether you worship the light side doesn't really make any difference. That is why it is interesting that the light side worshippers are known as Luciferians, and the dark side are known as witches, wizards, and Satanists. And they are the best of friends because the deity is the same. It doesn't matter which vehicle you use to get to know him, it is the same deity.
He was killed because his words made a difference, because he was showing people the light, and he was killed by the dark.
Millions of Christians, even from opposite camps, came together to pray, to mourn, and to attend church.
I've never seen the radical interest in faith that we're seeing right now. I'll tell you, if I use my parish just as a little example, I have maybe, I don't know, little more than 1,000 active parishioners that are here regularly. And over the years of my ministry, I've catechized, I've instructed and prepared people for baptism. You know, maybe 20, 30, 40, a really great year would be 40 people. I have over 200 people in catechism right now. And this is happening all across the country.
Germany, New Zealand, Italy, London, Korea, Brazil, Pakistan, Venice, Poland, Sweden, Paris, France, 500,000 in Poland, the Netherlands.
A couple of days ago, my niece, or my granddaughter, left for college in Europe. Her mother noticed that she packed a Bible. When her mother asked her why she made that choice, she said, "I want to live more like Charlie." And it's...
This week we saw people open a Bible for the first time in a decade. We saw people pray for the first time since they were children. We saw people go to a church service for the first time in their entire lives.
I always felt a little uncomfortable talking about my faith in public as much as I loved the Lord and as much as it was an important part of my life. I have talked more about Jesus Christ in the past 2 weeks than I have my entire time in public life.
On the surface, that looks like revival, which is a good thing. But was that the goal all along? Create a shocking tragedy, stir emotions, and unify people under a vague, feel-good version of Christianity that blurs doctrinal lines.
If you turned on cable news today, you go in your living room, turn it on, maybe you scroll social media, what are you going to see? The absolute fringe. They're going to show you the loudest, dumbest, most cartoonish people from the other side blasted in your face 24/7. You're not being shown your neighbor or your coworker or the mom next door who votes differently. You're being shown a bunch of professional lunatics that are handpicked to make you think one thing. And the one big thing that they want you to think is, oh my God, these people are insane. They are the enemy. That's the reason that we're going downhill. And none of this is an accident. This is word for word textbook psychological operations. And military psyops manuals literally describe how you isolate a target audience, then you pump them full of a bunch of outrage, you create a tribal us versus them identity. This is straight out of a psyops textbook. So why would we want to do this? Or why would psyops want to do this? Because once you're locked into tribal thinking, You're going to swallow anything. You're going to believe any lie about the other side. You're going to cheer when other people suffer. You'll excuse things that you would never excuse in your own neighborhood if you watched it right in front of you and it was one of your neighbors.
Anytime you have the left pushing against the right, anytime you have the right pushing against the left, you've already lost. There's no way that you can win with that kind of civil war. It's the civil war mentality spirit that they are pushing on both sides, and he sees it clearly, and then they see it clearly, and they're both being pointed to each other as the problem. And I really do believe that they are pushing this racism on both sides. You are pushing blacks to be afraid of whites, whites to be afraid of blacks. It's like they're our brothers, completely our brothers and sisters, but they're pushing this divide. They're pushing LGBT versus Christians. They're pushing black versus white, women versus men, anything that they can do to create a divide. And that's what this is all about. This whole entire thing with Charlie is being exploited to be a civil war. And pay attention, start looking at the articles, start watching the videos. It's civil war. Don't be caught on either side, right or left, or you're gonna be part of the problem. You're gonna get sucked in, you're gonna get emotional.
It's similar to road rage, where with road rage, you're not arguing with a person, you're arguing with a car. And when you're arguing with a car, I can do anything to a car. If you got out of the car and looked each other in the eye, you're like, oh, you're not that bad. I'm so sorry, man. You're a good person, let's have a good day. And with politics, you can do terrible things to them.
Yeah.
But them doesn't really exist. It's Bill and Steve and Sue and Rhonda and whatnot. And so when the argument in the last 24 hours is they did this.
Yeah.
They cheated like dogs, but we got them back, didn't we, huh? Got them back. Charlie's murder was not just an attack on one man or one movement. It was an attack on our entire nation.
You cannot defeat us, you cannot slow us, you cannot stop us, you cannot deter us. We will carry Charlie and Erica in our heart every single day and fight that much harder because of what you did to us. You have no idea the dragon you have awakened.
Are you ready to continue the mission? Are you ready to fight back? And are you ready to put on the full armor of God and face the evil in high places and the spiritual warfare before us?
Yeah.
Oh, I understand that point, but it's one person.
Gosh, yeah. I mean, you know that more starkly than anyone as a podcaster, because I sit here with everybody of all political opinions, extreme left, pretty extreme right. And at this table, we get along.
Right.
We get along, and even off camera, we get along.
This does not happen overnight. It is a formula, and I'm going to lay it out for you very plain right here. Number one is isolation. And this is where you don't just disagree with people anymore. You're told not even to interact with them. You don't have friends on the other side. Don't date them. Don't work with those people. You need to cut them out of your life. That is step one. And if you're paying attention, that's also step one of joining a cult. So step two is echo chambers. You surround yourself only with opinions that sound just like yours. Social media makes damn sure of this. And algorithms serve you more of what already pisses you off. And this has been proven and documented in research. So that rage gets recycled and concentrated like moonshine, like a moonshine still. And if you haven't caught on yet, this is step two of building a cult, a dangerous cult. So step three here is the tribal script. This is the us versus them narrative. Your side is righteous, their side is evil. Every single issue is framed like a holy war, and it doesn't matter if it's taxes or healthcare. It's suddenly life or death, and it's good versus evil. And if you add outrage and righteous superiority, and our brain chemistry starts going bonkers, crazy, that cocktail makes people feel morally justified in hating and silencing and celebrating violence. That is true radicalization. That's how you turn regular people into basically a sleeper agent without them even knowing. The bad news is that what I just said is only the beginning, and it's happening on both sides of the imaginary aisle. Here's the truly horrifying part. All of this, it's not just a result of some advertising and algorithms. This is deliberate, and I would stake my reputation on it. This is not just some accidental byproduct of politics. This, what we're seeing right here, is engineered step by step to keep you outraged and blind and keep you just kind of stabbing and punching at shadows. All the while, this real power, the people who profit from division, stay completely untouchable. So keep this in mind while we're talking. You have more in common with someone who voted different than you did than the people that you see parading their narratives on TV.
One thing is for sure, we are being emotionally stirred, not spiritually grounded.
Not only this is an issue, but we also have other individuals who's calling for the death sentence of the young man who killed Charlie Kirk.
Two extremes.
The two extremes. They're saying death penalty. I'm like, wait a minute. You're now trying to tell me that Christ is influencing you to say that. That's the Spirit of God that's saying that.
Erica is now positioned to become a national figure, possibly even a VP candidate in 2028. The media elevates her as the good left of Charlie, and if she speaks, people listen. But what if her voice, formed by Catholic influence, trained in Jesuit institutions, is being used to soften Protestants' convictions and push for a false unity? Could this all be leading towards the long prophesied unification of church and state under a counterfeit Sabbath law enforced in the name of Charlie and peace?
A couple days ago I learned that Kirk, actually in German, the German language, means church. So on this Sunday morning, I'd like to think we're all in Charlie's church.
Pray again. Read the Bible again. Go to church next Sunday and the Sunday after that, and break free from the temptations and shackles of this world.
And we have to bring back religion to America, because without borders, law and order, and religion, you really don't have a country anymore. We want religion brought back to America. We want to bring God back into our beautiful USA like never before. We want God back.
And then maybe on Sunday morning, I'm going to go to church, or I'm going to go to Mass, and then I'm going to go work out, and then I'm going to study. Who will be happier? You know I'm right. Who will be happier?
All we know is this. No one knows what Charlie was writing about the Sabbath in the book set to release on December 9th. Yet, somehow, it's already #1 bestseller. Not the Bible, but that book for sure.
Since Erica Kirk forgave her husband's killer, I guess it's time for me to forgive my brother's killer.
Friends, I think we must remain vigilant. This isn't about hating Erica or judging Charlie's heart. Only God knows how to do that. But I think symbols speak louder than words.
2 days later. Where the bullseye is and where the arrow lands, that's called the sin distance.
Charlie, Christ, died at 33 years old.
Charlie always had that revival energy, didn't he?
You're getting a little aggressive.
And agendas hide behind noble causes.
He was an Eagle Scout who spent his school lunch breaks listening to another champion for liberty. I got to know him very well and saw immediately that Charlie was actually a master builder.
They chose the memorial today on purpose. You hear me? On purpose. Do not let anybody tell you it was a coincidence that almost 80,000 people packed the stadium on the exact day of a solar eclipse, a new moon, and Saturn at opposition. That's not random. That's staging. That's choreography. And it wasn't for you. It was for them. And here is the ugly truth. Crowds are batteries. When tens of thousands cry, chant, and sway together, you create a current. Science calls it collective effervescence. Spirit folks call it energy harvesting. I call it what I see it, stealing your grief and cashing it in. And this playbook isn't new. The Romans did it in the Colosseum, blood and bread to distract the people while the empire pulled strings behind the curtain. Televangelists do it every single Sunday, whipping a congregation into tears, then passing the plate at the peak. Even Hollywood showed you the metaphor in The Matrix. Humans strapped in as living batteries, feeding a machine that doesn't give a damn about them. Fiction? Sure, but it makes the point plain. Your energy can be drained and redirected. That's exactly what happened today. A memorial dressed up as a spectacle, tears turned into chants, destiny slipped into the mic right as the eclipse hit. While you were raw from loss, they funneled that energy straight into their machine. Donations, pledges, loyalty. The eclipse, that was the amplifier. Tie a man's death to the heavens and suddenly it's not just a loss, it's prophecy. And if you question it, you're told you're dishonored in the dead, and that's the trick. Grief turned sacred, sacred turned untouchable, untouchable turned useful. And here is the kicker, it worked. People walked out of there buzzing, ready to give, ready to fight, ready to defend a story somebody else scripted for them.
The Jesuit strategy was always subtle. Create chaos, offer a solution, and lead the masses into deception through emotional manipulation.
And let me tell you, division is the cheapest, most effective tool ever invented for that. Look at how PSYOPs are described in military doctrine. You identify your target audience, you feed them carefully selected information, and you push their emotion until their behavior changes. This isn't theory. That's written down in black and white, and it's the same exact playbook that's being used on you and me, my family, my parents, all of us. Except this time the battlefield isn't Afghanistan, it's not some country in the Middle East, it is your living room, it's your Twitter feed, it's your nightly news, it's right here where you're looking at my face, whatever device you're watching this on. This is the battlefield. This is why both parties, you're hearing them scream about each other nonstop, but they never really seem to touch the things that matter. And you ever notice how there's always money for war, but there's never money to fix our roads? You notice how billionaires always seem to fund both sides of the elections. And if you've ever noticed, if you take a good look, corruption is a bipartisan issue. That's not incompetence. So whatever it is for the elites, they need you locked in this tribal, us versus them, tribalistic warfare. Because if you ever woke up and you started to realize that you share more in common with the other side than a single millionaire donor on your own side, the entire game starts to collapse.
Don't fall for it, my friend. Remember that Jesus prayed for Judas. Stephen prayed for his murderers. So yes, we must pray for Erica too. I think this is the Spirit of God, whether she's complicit or just a pawn. But we cannot let compassion blind our discernment. Test every spirit. Read between the headlines. Don't just react. Respond with prayer and scripture. Because what seemed like tragedy could in fact be the final act of a carefully crafted plan to deceive even the elect.
I forgive him.
My father dropped dead of a heart attack at the age of 43 years old. And when he died, I looked up to God and I said those words. Because my father was so young, so full of life, so full of dreams, why would God take him from us? Truth be told, I never really knew him or what his dreams were. He was quiet, timid, almost invisible. My mother didn't think much of him. My mother's mother hated him. The man never scratched the surface of life. Maybe it's best he died so young. He wasn't doing much but taking up space. But that doesn't make for a very powerful eulogy now, does it? I wept, I screamed, why, God?
I almost lost my husband. Our nation almost lost a president. Loss makes us reevaluate what we hold dear.
And what if this was the whole point? Stay awake and see you in the next one. And Erica, if you ever see my video, I challenge you to prove me wrong, as Charlie would do. For the things I saw that tie you to Freemasonry, I truly hope I'm mistaken, and I'll be praying that you're not, or never become a Judas.